Okay guys, it's the time of the month again, and I'm going to go over the micros that appeared on my channel, some of the ones that were notable, the ones that I really liked. And these are in no particular order. We got just a flood of 3-inch models this month for whatever reason. It's kind of interesting. Some models we get a bunch of 2.5-inch, some models a lot of 2-inch, and this month was a bunch of 3-inch. So it happens that way sometimes. I think that is kind of the trend right now, that people are kind of wanting to get bigger frames with sort of the lighter setups, and we're seeing more of the 3-inch micros. I personally still like the 2.5-inch micros the best, although as I'm kind of looking at these sort of smaller, lighter setups from these 3.5-inch models, I'm sort of starting to change my mind a little bit. But at this point, I haven't quite fallen in love with the 3-inch yet, but I'm kind of getting there. Anyway, I want to first show you this guy here. This is the Tomo Quad's Kamikaze frame. I did build in this earlier in the month. I've been flying this a fair amount here and there. It's a very nice flyer, easy to tune. If you go and watch my build video, pretty much any kind of parts will probably work pretty well on this. Now I did use a lighter setup on this one. I'm using the DYS 1404 6000 kV motors, so this is going to be a little bit, I guess, unusual. Most people are going to be choosing either 1306 or 1407 motors with the heavier, bigger motors and bigger props. But I kind of like these lighter motors. I like the lighter setup on the micros. This is my personal preference. But if you want to check out that build, I'll put all the links to the videos in the description. But this one was one of my favorites from this month. Okay, so we got another 3-inch here. This is a ready to fly, or bind and fly, I guess. The Space Wolf from GearBest. It doesn't come with this camera. It came with a pretty crappy camera. I didn't really like it. So I swapped it out for this Caddx Turbo SDR1. I'm just kind of testing this new version of this camera out. That video is going to come out later. I think that it flew okay in terms of the flight characteristics and performance on these motors. It was not bad. The problem, I think, was the props. The stock props was the orange ones from that video, and that was some kind of a clone. I think they were unbalanced because at the high end of the throttle I would get vibrations. So I switched out to those props for these Gemfan 3052 props, and I flew it again with this camera, and I did a few punch outs and flew it around. Didn't get nearly as much vibrations, so that's without any tuning or anything like that. So it still had the default Betaflight tune. I think it was on 330, 331, and I think that if you change the camera and the props, this should be a pretty decent flyer. It probably is on promotion right now, so you might want to check the links in the description on the model. I believe I saw it for 140 or 145, but you want to check. If it's on promotion under $150, it's not a bad deal for this model. Okay, so this is the Spc Maker 140X, and this is kind of like one of those crazy monster builds. They're using these 1508 motors, I think, from RCN Power. High kV, big motors for 3-inch, and just crazy amounts of power. If you're into that, you might want to check out this model, but you will have to have some skills in tuning it. I didn't do a tune video on this or anything like that. I just flew it out of the box with the tune that came with. It looks like they did do some sort of tuning on it, but I think if you want to maximize the performance on this, you're going to have the skills to do a little bit of additional tuning in this, so keep that in mind. But I mean, the model looks really nice. It's got the Micro Eagle in there, pretty nice camera, monster motors, but then you're going to need some really good batteries. Would recommend at least a really good 650 to 750 milliamp hour, not too heavy. And I think you'll like the performance on this. Maybe get about 2.5-3 minutes of flying this, and it'll be a joyride. This thing's a rocket ship. So if you like power with big motors and lots of speed, definitely check out this model. Okay, so on the other end of the spectrum here is the Kong Fpv Egg. A little bit smaller motors here, only 1406 I believe, and I think 3500 kV. So it's not a ton of power, and it only comes with a 3S LiPo. This thing is really targeted to beginners, and if you kind of wanted to try out the 3-inch size class, maybe move up from something smaller like a 2-inch, this would not be a bad model to choose. And 3S, it flies really nice with the default PID tune. I didn't do any tuning on this, and you can see that video and you'll see that it flies really nice on 3S. I didn't fly this on 4S yet, but I think that if you're a beginner, 3S is going to be plenty fast. It has plenty enough power on 3S, and it flew really nice. So if you want something where you can just sort of charge up a battery, you're going to have to solder up a receiver, of course. That's the only downside to this model. And then go and fly it. I think this is one of the ones you want to check out. It's going to be really easy to set up and go out and fly. Okay, so this is the Helifar Turtles. I did a review video on the original setup of this a while back, and I did some modifications. I did another video on that. I just wanted to show this again. I really like the setup. I like again, I'm liking these, smaller motors here. This is a 1304 6200 kV motor. If you want an explanation on the motor and everything, go and watch the video where I modded this, and I'll explain that more. But I actually really enjoy flying this one a lot. I guess the top mounted battery is nice and balanced, and the setup with the motors here, lower weight, and I guess the power to weight ratio just feels really nice in this one, and didn't have to do a whole lot of tuning on it, and I just, yeah, I really like the way this thing flies. So check out those videos if you want a further explanation on this particular modification. Okay, so I got a couple of diatone models that came in this month, the 2-inch M2 and the 2.5-inch M2.5. They come in plus configurations and normal X configurations. So I only have these. I don't have the counterparts to these. So I don't have the M2.5 plus or the M2 normal X. I just flew these as is. And you can go see those videos if you want. I think that in this configuration here with the M2, it's a little bit heavier than the R90, at least because of the aluminum cage, but I think your electronics are going to be a little bit more protected. And of course, they've upgraded all the stack and everything so that you get less video noise, and it's got beefed up ESCs, so you could perhaps even transplant these parts into a bigger frame or something like that. I think it's the same ones from the M3, I'm pretty sure about that. And it's the same one, of course, that's on the M2.5 as well. Of these two, I definitely love the M2.5 quite a bit more. I think that they could have gone to the 5500 kV motor, as I explained in that video. But they're using the 6500 kV motor, so it's got crazy amounts of power, but you're going to need some really good batteries to take advantage of that. And I think earlier, I think it was a week ago, I did a PID tuning video on this. You should go check that out if you do get this model. This one, I think, is probably one of my most favorite diatone models to date, right here. This one here, the 2.5 inch. Okay, so in the video with this model here, this is the Catalyst Machine Works Massive Droner 3. Definitely should go check out that video and watch the flight demonstration of this. This is actually a conversion from the XJB145. So it's got 1407 motors. I think they're 3600 kV. Not like the crazy supersonic sized 1508 motors. There's a little bit better in terms of battery management, so you get a little bit more flight time, but you still get plenty of power. It's a very nice flyer. The frame is excellent. Definitely like the frame, and I think that if you guys have an XJB145 and want to try out a different frame, definitely check out this frame. These parts go really well with this frame. I thought it flew really nice, and I didn't do hardly any tuning on it. I just took the tune that was on the XJB145 that I had before, that worked pretty much out of the box on this one without any adjustments at all. So go check out that video. This is definitely one of my favorite 3 inches from this month.